we're seeing an unprecedented crackdown in recent months. And part of the problem is that all major political parties are now tainted. I think democratic-minded people are extremely disoriented that we do not have any political party that has deep commitments to the Constitution. The PTI, as you rightly mentioned, was supported by the military, played a supportive role for the military and establishment up to 2022. They mocked people who were facing enforced disappearances. They defended the institutional role of the military in Pakistani politics. And the PDM at that time was opposing those things. But since last year, we've seen that PDM has actually escalated the censorship, the raids, the repression that people of Pakistan are facing, so that we no longer have any political entity that is willing to speak out for the people of Pakistan, for the Constitution of Pakistan, for the citizens of Pakistan. And I would not blame the PTI alone for May 9th. I think it's a failure of our political class that they were unable to initiate a dialogue, and that allowed the establishment an upper hand in Pakistani politics. We still have to admit that the only way out of this impasse is neither technical lockup of any individual nor repression. Political forces will have to come together and set the minimal rules of the game, which unfortunately hasn't been done as yet. At the moment, there's a lot of despondency because there is no political party that is willing to reach out across the aisle. And I think that's what's needed at the moment. The only glimmer of hope is that social movements are slowly rising up again. We just recently saw the Jalsa of PTM, then Ammar and others were arrested. Earlier, Jibran Nasir was arrested for speaking out against the violations of civil liberties. And it's interesting that the lawyers community is also becoming more active, and they've announced a campaign in September for civil liberties. So we're hoping that different actors can come together. And that's an initiative that a lot of people in civil society and among political workers are discussing at the moment, that different groups need to come together to begin a campaign to defend the basic architecture of our constitution, to defend our civil liberties and to defend democracy, because unfortunately, political parties are banking upon the establishment to curry favors. They are hoping for more repression against their opponents. And this is happening across the aisle. I mean, there's absolutely no political party that is willing to accept the existence of the other. And when you turn politics into an all-out war, then it becomes very difficult for any kind of improvement to happen. So there's partly despondency that political parties have surrendered, but there's also this hope, and we can't lose hope even in hopeless times, that new actors, particularly from grassroots organizations, from civil society, will fill the vacuum. One of the bigger problems is that people feel more despondency than ever before because reality works through fictions, and the PTI folks for the longest time had this fiction that the military was on their side. That fiction is destroyed. A lot of democratic people had this fiction that the PDM was on their side. That fiction has been destroyed. So what we're experiencing is the shattering of reality. And when reality shatters, there's a lot of despondency, there's confusion, there's chaos, there's disorientation, and we're feeling that. But I think it's very important at this juncture to reorient society. And the reorientation can only happen on a minimal point agenda. And the minimal point agenda must be that it does not matter whether you're from PTI, People's Party, PMLN, or any other political party. If you are a Pakistani citizen, you have all the rights given to you by the Constitution. And I think the more we see people from different political parties speaking for other workers of other political parties, the more we'll see a sense of solidarity developing. So it's important, I think, in this current juncture, that people speak out for the political prisoners of PTI, particularly women prisoners, and also demand that there be accountability for those who are increasing their architecture of repression, especially if you remember the kinds of absurd laws that have been passed in the parliament without any debate, any discussion, and then the the almost clownish things we're seeing for the past 2 days on whether there was assent to that law or not by the president, it shows that there's a complete breakdown of trust between different institutions. There's a complete surrender by political parties in front of the establishment. And I think in order to, now that we realize that this reality is completely shattered, we must build something new. Gramsci used to say the old is dead and the new is yet to be born. And in the interim, there are monsters. And we're going to see more and more monsters appear, just like we did with Jarawala and other symptoms of this collapse that we're facing, unless there's something new emerges. And the new will only emerge on the basis of strong principles. And I really hope young people, civil society activists, political workers can come together to give the society the hope that it is.